That was the memo from last night from Bill O'Reilly's talking points. So, is the president trying to push a liberal agenda on an unwilling nation? Let's debate that. Juan Williams is a Fox News political analyst. Mary Catherine Ham is the editor-at-large at hotair.com and a Fox News contributor. Welcome and good morning to both of you. Good to have you here. Juan, what do you think?
Well, I think he's been elected twice, whatever his agenda, but I think if you ask people on the left, I think Bill would be surprised to hear that they think President Obama is very much a moderate, and even on this issue of the day, the Affordable Care Act, where you're hearing so many people on the right say, oh, he lied, he lied. I think people feel like, gee, President Obama really is being attacked by people who want to bury the Obamacare. They hate Obamacare, they don't like him, and so now they're using that as a reason to further attack him.
But let's listen to the president in Boston here in this soundbite, and then we'll go to Mary Catherine.
Our devotion to the kind of freedoms whose first shot rang out not far from here. But they are also debates tempered by a recognition that we're all in this together. And that when hardship strikes, and it could strike any of us at any moment, we're there for one another.
We had a very nice woman, Betsy Tatler, on yesterday who explained getting a letter in the mail, Mary Catherine, and it said she didn't have her health insurance anymore. She said that wasn't something I was ever worried about because the president had told me that if I wanted to keep my policy, I could keep it. She went online, she found another policy. She said it's way too expensive for her. The deductible is twice as much as what she was paying before. I'm not sure that she feels like this process is about us all looking out for each other and making sure that nobody falls through the cracks, Mary Catherine.
Right. Somewhat ironically, hardship is striking, and it's in the form of healthcare.gov, or it's in the form of those cancellation letters, which, because of Obamacare's regulations and because Obama's administration itself sort of eviscerated the grandfathering clause, you will lose your insurance. Many people will. The promise was that 0 people would, and let's just be honest about it, that was a giant, big old lie. Like, they knew that people would lose their insurance. People like me pointed out that people would lose their insurance, and it was a Horsepuckey, that's right, I said it, Horsepuckey, the whole time, that they could keep it. And this has real consequences in the real world, and the people losing their plans are middle-class folks who may not be eligible for subsidies, who were the exact people who did the right thing. They got insured, and now, oops, sorry.
Yeah, so is that, Juan, all of us getting together, looking out for each other, not letting people fall through the cracks? Because it isn't, to a lot of people, including our guest yesterday, that's not what feels like is happening here.
No, I think there are anecdotal stories like that, Martha. Horsepuckey, that was
Sucks
great.
To be an anecdote.
Horsepuckey is the word of the day.
I think so. I think Mary Catherine wins. But I think that if you're talking about looking out for each other, you have to look at the status quo, which is a healthcare system that bankrupts families. A lot of these policies, remember, we're talking about a very limited number of people involved in the individual healthcare market, about 5% of the entire market.
I got to step in here for 1 second, Juan, because what we're also learning this morning is that there's going to be mission creep here, that corporations are also going to look at this down the road and say, you know what, not worth it. We're not going to do this anymore. You, me, Mary Catherine, so many people. Kathleen Sebelius, I don't know if she'll lose her health insurance because she works for the federal government, but a lot of people who work for corporations in this country are going to be looking at a very different system.
That's the whole thing, is that there's change to a status quo that's been unacceptable, that big business, as well as small business, has said is too costly, and that individuals, especially those who don't get their insurance through their employers or through Medicare and Medicaid, have said, this stuff is just driving me crazy, and that's why we have so many uninsured.
Juan, let me ask you this. If you got a letter in the mail tomorrow from News Corp that said, you know what, you're not going to be covered anymore.
It'd be upsetting. I just said that we have stories like that, but I just don't think that's the entirety of the story. So when the president says we have to look out for each other, we have to look out for the elderly woman who might get sick as well as the kid who might get into a car accident, I think that's rational.
A lot of elderly people who are very nervous right now about losing their coverage.
I think change is not easy.
Mary Catherine, I'm sorry.
There wasn't supposed to be any change if you liked what you had. Why don't we look out for each other by telling the truth about legislation before we try to shove it through?
Good point. I grant you that point.
He would not have passed if he had told people that some of them might lose their health insurance.
We're going to leave it there, guys. Horsepuckey on everything.
It's rated G. That's
just
G, right?
Mary Catherine, thank you very much. Juan, you too. Good to have you. Have a weekend. Good weekend.
Take care, Martha.
Make it a good one.